Good morning, everybody, and welcome back into Key Time Sports. It's that time of the week where I give you my reactions to week 4 of the NFL season. There was a lot that happened throughout week 4. There were a lot of upsets, particularly the Denver Broncos getting upsetting a favorite again. So, what I'm going to do, I am going to get into it right now with the first game of the week to last night. Now, the first game of the week was the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Giants. So, when we look at this game was just downright terrible. I mean, the referees, they just took over this game like it was nobody's business, as they did with most games in week 4. But this game right here, Daniel Jones, it was 3 or 4 throws that he missed in this game that could potentially would have been the outcome of the game. That third down to that fourth down to, no, that third down to Slayton, he missed the wide open play to Malik Neighbors, and there was a third down to Slayton on a crossing route that he just missed. That he just missed. And basically Slayton had dropped the ball because the ball came in too hot. But outside of those 3 plays, the Giants should have easily won this game. I mean, you're not gonna win many games when you kicking 5 field goals and you done gave up 2 touchdowns to your opponent, and two and also 2 field goals to your opponent. So this game right here, it's basically been an anomaly of both of these 2 teams' seasons. You got the Cowboys finally on the defensive side of the ball that was able to neutralize a run game. Even though it's the Giants and it's your division rival, I always state that division rivals will keep a much closer game with their competition, because your division rival, they know what you're going to do. They got you read like a book. They play you they play you more times than anybody else in the NFL. So they know your best plays, they know your worst plays, your weaknesses, your strengths. They know that better than anybody. So as far as the Giants, Daniel Jones, even though he's played decent the last couple of weeks, he has got to be able to take the next step. This is this is year 6 for him, and he's got to be able to take that next step. Now he did play well, 29 of 40, 281 yards, 1 interception, 0 touchdowns. He's got to get his touchdown numbers up in order to in order for the Giants to even have remotely have a chance at making it to the playoffs and trying to make some noise in the playoffs. For the Cowboys, my dearly beloved Cowboys, this was a game where we were lucky to win it. We were, because there were a lot of times in this game where the game was just close, and then it was like, if the Giants make this one big play, if the Giants make that one big play, it could have been a different outcome. So the congratulations to the Dallas Cowboys on winning this game, and the New York Giants. You are 1-3, currently at the bottom of the division. Let's see what you can do to get yourself out of this hole. The next game I want to talk about is the New Orleans Saints and Atlanta Falcons. Atlanta Falcons, they had a tough loss the previous week, and they came back and won. They upset the New Orleans Saints, their arch rival, behind Kirk Cousins, 21 of 35, 238 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Now, I always say this: stats do not tell the game. If you are going to be a legit sports, not a knowledgeable person about sports, you have got to watch every game. There are some times where you have to go back and look at the film of every game, like I do. I look at all of the games and then go back and look at the film of every game. Now with this game, all of these points, all of these points where the Saints scored 24, the Falcons scored 26, and when you look at Derek Carr's stats and Kirk Cousins stats, it's misleading. Everybody, if you didn't truly watch the game, you're probably asking yourself, where did these points come from? Well, I can tell you that when it comes to the Saints, two touchdowns they scored came off of Taysom Hill coming in with his little package plays, his little package trick plays, where Taysom Hill, he had two touchdowns, and Alvin Kamara, he had one touchdown, and the field goal kicker made a field goal. So that's where those 24 points came from. As far as for the Falcons, their points came from obviously wide receivers. They had two wide receivers that had two touchdowns, and they kicked three field goals, one in the third quarter and two in the fourth quarter. And I got to give props to the Atlanta Falcons kicker, Younghoe Koo. He made a 58-yard, his longest career field goal made in his career, 58 yards, and basically the game winner. So as far as the Falcons, outside of this, they are a team that will be a tough out for anybody. I love what Raheem Morris is doing. Arthur Blank, that he truly has confidence in him. So I want to see how far the Falcons can go. And these two teams, the Falcons play the Saints later on in the season, week 13. So this could be another close game later on in the season. I wouldn't be surprised if the Falcons made the playoffs, because they have that type of team that can make the playoffs and can potentially make some noise in the playoffs. So as far as the Saints, they've lost two games in a row. After week 2 and after they beat up on the Cowboys, everybody was saying that, is this a new Derek Carr we seen? Is this a new Derek Carr we are seeing? And now Derek Carr is back to the regular Derek Carr, and he is a shell of himself right now. So maybe, just maybe, the Saints, they were on a high after week 1 and week 2, and now they've been brought back down to earth. And will they be able to still keep the same momentum that they had earlier in the season? Because what I said, these 2 weeks, week 4 and week 5, are make or break weeks. This can determine the rest of your season. So that's all I have to say about the Atlanta Falcons New Orleans Saints game. The next game I want to talk about is the Los Angeles Rams and the Chicago Bears. I picked the Chicago Bears to win this game because I saw the type of injuries that the Rams had. They didn't have Cooper Kupp. Matthew Stafford, he is a decent quarterback at best. And Caleb Williams, he had an efficient day. He didn't crack 200 yards, but he had an efficient day. He was 17 of 23, 157 yards, 1 touchdown, and 0 interceptions. So now, he had 1 passing touchdown. Also, the rushing game for the Chicago Bears really took it up a notch. You had DeAndre Swift with 93 yards and a touchdown. Roscoe Johnson with 26 yards and a touchdown. Caleb Williams, he ran the ball 5 times, had 12 yards rushing. And the wide receivers for the Chicago Bears also had a touchdown. DJ Moore had a touchdown. Roma Doomsday, he only had one pass thrown to him for 10 yards and a first down. So the Chicago Bears, I still have them as my dark horse to make it to the playoffs. But one thing they got to do is they got to get their offense better because they have a good defense. They have a top 15 defense. To be exact, the Chicago Bears early season success on the defensive side is top 15. To be exact, they are 13 right now as far as defensive rankings when it comes to the NFL. So now, when it comes to the Chicago Bears, can they build off of this momentum and start a winning streak? It remains to be seen if they can do that. But as far as the Rams, 1-3, your only win was at home, and you haven't won a road game since the early start of the season. So the Rams, they are between a rock and a hard place right now. Teams that go 1-4 has never made the playoffs, and whichever team goes 1-4 this week, your season is pretty much over because what you have to do, you basically have to win you basically have to win 5 games to get back to a winning record. And you have to win 4 games to have an even record at 500. So that is going to be a tall task for the Rams to do. I just don't see that happening. This might be a lost season for the LA Rams. It may be. The next game that I am going to cover and get into is the Vikings and Packers. Now, I watched the entirety of this game too. Basically, this game was typically one-sided for about 48, 49 minutes of the game. It was one-sided. Vikings got out to a 28-0 lead. Then it seemed like that we were going to have another repetitious game of Alabama and Georgia, what we saw throughout the weekend. So Vikings got up 28-0. Everybody was saying that the game was over. And I'm saying to myself, no, it's not over until the clock hits 000. And then in the second half, I saw where the Green Bay Packers scored 22 points in the fourth quarter. And only thing I could say is if the Packers would have gotten that onside kick, they would have won the game. Now, I'm going to get into the stats where Sam Darnold, 20 of 28, 275 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, which almost proved costly. Jordan Love, 32 of 54, 389 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. And all of those interceptions that he threw was costly because it's not too many plays you can run where you get down 28-0. And I'm just stating that as a fact because when you get down 28-0, 95% of your plays have to be throwing plays. You just have to throw all of your run concepts, your run formations out of the window. But I credit the Packers making it a game in the fourth quarter. This was a great game in the fourth quarter because if the Packers, like I said, Packers defense didn't give up anything before the start of the fourth quarter. Now, the Vikings, they ended up making a field goal in the last few minutes of the game, and that's what potentially won the game. But as far as the Vikings, are the Vikings for real? I think that we all need to look ourselves in the mirror and what we projected before the season and in the preseason with J.J. McCarthy going down. I think that we have to look at ourselves in the mirror and say that the Vikings are a true playoff contender. Now, will they win in the playoffs? It remains to be seen. But as of right now, they are 4-0. Last time they were 4-0 was 2016 when they started off 5-0. So is this a rendition of 2016? Who knows? But congratulations to the Vikings on winning this game, and the Packers. Congratulations on Jordan Love coming back from injury, because it seemed like that he was going to be out for 2 to 3 more weeks, but he was able to come back, put up a good game, turnover, the interceptions. It was his first game. It was his first game back, so I'm going to give him a pass for his interceptions, because most of those interceptions, when he threw them, it was one where he threw it deflected off of his tight end's hands, and the other one deflected off of his receiver's hands. So I'm not going to pile on Jordan Love just yet. But one thing that I do see is that he has got to tone it down on the interceptions, because it is not looking good. So the next game I want to talk about is the Pittsburgh Steelers and Indianapolis Colts. Now, there was an injury with Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson, he has got to protect himself when it comes to running the football. I know that Shane Steichen, the Colts head coach, likes to run Anthony Richardson, but Anthony Richardson, he has to know when to get down and when to know enough is enough on one play, because he shouldn't have got hurt in this game. He really shouldn't have. But, he started off the game good, 3 or 4, 71 yards, and let me tell you, when he throws the ball, his deep ball accuracy is one of the best in the NFL when it comes to quarterbacks. He has the best deep ball accuracy. Hopefully this is a minor setback with this injury, but Joe Flacco came in and it seemed like he picked up where he left off in Cleveland. He was 16 of 26, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and the Colts won the game in his coming out party. So he was basically the backup, and we all know that Joe Flacco, if Anthony Richardson is out, he can potentially hold it down for the next 4 or 5 weeks. Now, as far as Justin Fields concerned, I like what I'm seeing with Justin Fields. I like what they are doing in Pittsburgh with Justin Fields. They are giving him 45 to about 50 plays that he like a game. And what Mike Tomlin is saying, Justin Fields, don't lose the game for us. And he didn't. He didn't lose the game. He was 22 or 34, 312 yards, 1 touchdown, and 0 interceptions. So, when you look at this game, what happened with the Pittsburgh Steelers? Well, they went for it on 4th down quite a few times in this game. To be exact, when it comes to 3rd downs, they were 6 of 13 on 3rd down. The Colts, they were 8 of 15 on 3rd down. And also, 4th down efficiency, the Steelers were 0 of 2 on 3rd down. And that's basically where they lost the game at, on 3rd down. Now, as far as turnovers too, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they had 2 turnovers, which proved costly. Both turnovers, the Colts scored 6 points off of 2 field goals. So, when you look at this game, you see both teams are in the same boat when it comes to quarterbacks. They have young quarterbacks, one who is trying to find his stride in Pittsburgh, and another one who is having trouble staying on the field in Anthony Richardson. But all in all, this was a very entertaining game. I wouldn't be surprised if both of these teams if they are able to keep pace with each other, I wouldn't be surprised if they see each other in the playoffs, and that would be a great wild card game for them to have between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Indianapolis Colts. The next game I want to talk about is the Denver Broncos and the New York Jets. Now, the Denver Broncos have upset the New York Jets. Like I said earlier, no, like I said before the season started, the Broncos are going to upset some teams. They are going to have upset wins. Last week, they had an upset win in Tampa. This week, Sunday, they had an upset win in New York playing against the Jets. One thing about the Jets I see, are the Jets for real? I'm just saying, are the Jets for real? Because we saw what they did versus the New England Patriots, and albeit it was the New England Patriots. The Denver Broncos come in, basically mucked the game up, did not score any points in the first half, and was still able to win this game. Aaron Rodgers, 24 of 42, 225 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Bo Nix, 12 of 25, 60 yards passing, 1 touchdown, and 0 interceptions. Now, both of these teams, I'm going to say they are in the same boat. You have one in the Broncos who have a quarterback for the future. This is a rebuilding year for them. But the Broncos, like I said earlier in the season and before the season even started, the Broncos will be a tough out for anybody. I said before the season started that I wouldn't be surprised if the Broncos won 10 games. And it seems like all of the games that they will be able to win will be in upset fashion. Now the New York Jets, they are 2-2, 1-1 at home. The Jets, they have some glaring concerns. I just heard that Aaron Rodgers, he said when it comes to the playbook, Robert Saleh, he is not eye to eye with Aaron Rodgers when it comes to the playbook. I said that the New York Jets they are going to make, who knows, it's a little iffy if they make the playoffs, but if they do make the playoffs, they are not going to win the Super Bowl. And even though a lot of Jets fans has come into this season thinking Super Bowl or bust, you still have teams to worry about. You still have the Houston Texans to worry about. You still have the Buffalo Bills to worry about. You still have the Kansas City Chiefs to worry about. And in typical Jets fashion, you also have teams on your schedule that may give you a couple of uncharacteristic losses here and there. Just like the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos did not do great on third down. They were 3 of 14 on third down. The New York Jets were not any better because they were 4 of 17 on third down. If the New York Jets were 7 of 17 or 8 of 17, they would have won this game. But the New York Jets have a lot of questions. They have more questions than answers at this point in time in the season. And will they be able to get on a winning streak and quiet down the noise of all of those questions? It remains to be seen. But congratulations to the Denver Broncos on getting your second win of the season. The next game I want to talk about is the Philadelphia Eagles and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I am going to tell you that the news that I am hearing coming out of the Philadelphia organization is not good. Not too many people are fond of Nick Sirianni. Since his time there and since him taking the Eagles to the Super Bowl, it has just been downhill. Last season, they had trouble with the Buccaneers twice. Even though they won the first game, it was week 3 of last season. I saw some glaring problems, and last season in the playoffs, they lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This season, their fourth game of the year, they are still having trouble with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And you also saw problems when it comes to the offense. When it comes to the offense, you had in the first quarter, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had 255 yards of total offense, and the Eagles had a grand total of a goose egg, 0. Now, what in the world is going on with the Philadelphia Eagles offense? This is not just on the players. I am coming after the coaches now. I am coming after the offensive coordinator, Nick Sirianni. You always said that you believe in analytics. You believe that the analytics will not lead you wrong. But in this case, the analytics led you wrong. That's why I say if I was ever a football coach, I would not be leaning my career on analytics. That's why I say I can go back to the Monday night game that they just had in Atlanta. You are on the 10-yard line. It's third down. Atlanta doesn't have any more timeouts. You run the ball up the middle. If you get a first down, game over. If you don't, you kick a field goal. You take the clock all the way down to 45, 40 seconds, and then you put your defense out there, and then you win the game by stopping Kirk Cousins. This game right here was just so much problems, and it just seems like the players do the players have confidence in Nick Sirianni anymore, just like they did last season and the season before that. Now, albeit they made it to the Super Bowl, but I'm gonna pull up their schedule. Their schedule from the 2022 season was basically, it was a cupcake schedule because you playing the Jaguars, you playing the Tennessee Titans, you playing the New York Jets, you playing all of these bottom 5 teams, bottom of the barrel teams, and that is how you made it to the Super Bowl. Philadelphia now, they have problems. When you heard what Jalen Hurts said about, does a reporter asked Jalen Hurts, does him and Nick Sirianni see eye to eye when it comes to the offense? And basically Jalen Hurts said that we have our moments. I understand where he was coming from. Me being a quarterback in middle school and in high school, there was a lot of times where the offensive coordinator and me had tension, but we mended our differences. We always had a mutual respect for each other, and that's what I think that Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni have. They might not agree on every play call that Nick Sirianni or the Philadelphia Eagles analytics department may suggest, but they still mend their differences and still are finding ways to win games. Now, albeit the defensive side of the ball is suspect. I wouldn't be surprised if the Eagles have too many more games like this. But albeit, credit to the Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield 347 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. So, the Buccaneers, are they able to get on a winning streak after this game? It remains to be seen. But when it comes to the Eagles, defensive side of the ball they have a lot of concerns to think about. The next game I want to talk about is the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Carolina Panthers. This game right here was two bottom of the barrel teams, and it's out of the ordinary for me to say that Cincinnati is a bottom of the barrel team, but before this game, that's what they were. You got Joe Burrow. He was 22 of 31, 232 yards, two touchdowns, and one interception. That one interception happened in the first quarter, wasn't costly. The running backs, you had Chase Brown, Zach Morris, Joe Burrow, and also as far as a team rushing, they were able to crack over 100 yards. Andy Dalton, it seems like this was going to be his revenge party, or whatever people want to call it. But he was 25 of 40, 220 yards, two touchdowns, and one interception. Now, the Carolina Panthers, we all know that the Carolina Panthers are a dumpster fire. David Tepper, Carolina Panthers owner, Carolina Panthers GM, I don't know what kind of decisions they are making, but to still have the fans come out to the game and you still lay goose egg after goose egg after goose egg, it's only diehard Panthers fans that will go for that. But there are some Panthers fans that are losing patience. And even with David Tepper, now in this day and time in the NFL, you have billionaires that buy these teams and want to instantly put a winner on the field. You see that with the owner of Walmart when it comes to the Denver Broncos. Now the Denver Broncos owner, he's able to run a retail store, but he has trouble running a football team. And basically, David Tepper is running into the same problem. He was a great businessman before he got the Panthers, but he is having trouble running a football team. When you see the Carolina Panthers, as far as rushing, they cracked over 140 yards rushing. Carolina Panthers didn't have any turnovers. Also, no fumbles for both teams, but they did throw interceptions. Andy Dalton and Joe Burrow had interceptions. Now, did the Cincinnati Bengals save their season with a win over the Carolina Panthers? I need to see more. I need to see them play against legitimate competition. I need to see them play against a team like the Cincinnati Bengals, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Baltimore Ravens before I can say that they have saved their season. So congratulations on the Cincinnati Bengals winning this game. And the Carolina Panthers, we all know that this was a rebuilding year for you. And they just need to start getting ready for the 2025 NFL draft. Just go ahead and get ready for the 2024 NFL draft if you are the Carolina Panthers franchise and organization front office. So that's all I have for the Cincinnati Bengals and Carolina Panthers game. The next game I want to talk about is the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Houston Texans. Now the Jaguars came into this game 0-3. After this game, they come out 0-4. And later on in this segment, I will tell you that there is a little glimmer of hope for the Jacksonville Jaguars in terms of making the playoffs. Now, as far as the Houston Texans came out first play of the game. Obviously, first punt of the game, they fumbled. Jaguars went up An early 7-0 lead. They were up by by the score of 10-7 after the first quarter. And then all of a sudden, the ineptitude of the Jaguars offense started to show again. Trevor Lawrence, 18 of 33, 169 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, albeit he had a good game. When it comes to the rushing, Tank Bigsby, Travis Etienne, Brian Thomas Jr., Trevor Lawrence, Dearness Johnson, all carried the ball for a grand total of 158 yards as a team rushing. Wide receiving for the Jaguars, they had 169 receiving yards through the air. As far as the defense, they were not able to get off the field on third down. Third down, the Texans, they were very efficient on third down. They were 7 of 13 on third down. Jaguars were just 4 of 12 on third down. And the Jaguars went for it on fourth down one time, did not convert. When it comes to penalties, the Texans had twice as many penalties as the Jaguars, and they still win this game. Now, where does that fall on? I'm going to tell you who it falls on. It falls on the players and the coaches. Doug Peterson, Press Taylor, the defensive coordinator, and all of the players from both sides of the ball. They have to know that when it comes to defensive sets, you have to have everybody on the field being cautious and being being alert for on third down. You have to have everybody focused. Everybody be on alert. You have to watch out for the quarterback, watch out for the wide receivers. If the play breaks down, you know CJ Stroud is going to take off for a first down and mainly a whole lot more yards. And that is what CJ Stroud did. Now, as far as the Jaguars, them being 0-4, all the Jaguar fans out there, there is a glimmer of hope for you. There is so much hope that there has been there's only one team in NFL history that has started 0-4 and made it to the playoffs and won a wild card game. Not too many teams know who this is, but I am going to give you all a history lesson. The one team that has made it to the playoffs after starting the season 0-4 was the 1992 Chargers. They started off 0-4, giving up an average of over 25 points per game. And this was when it was a 16-game regular season. And after them starting off 0-4, they won their last 11 out of 12 games to finish the season 11-5, and they won their wild card round and lost in the divisional round. So, Jaguar fans, there's hope for you. But as far as you making the playoffs, it has got to start this week. You have got to put a win on the table this week. Now, the Jaguars are facing the Indianapolis Colts. The road to the playoffs starts now. You've had 4 games. You had 4 fill-out games to see where you are. Now, this is a team where they are struggling to get that first win. I believe that first win will come against the Colts. If they do not win on Sunday, their season is downright over, because there has never been a team in the NFL, in NFL history, that has started a season 0-5 and made it to the playoffs, let alone win in the playoffs. So that's all I have for the Jaguars-Texans game. The next game I want to talk about is the Washington Commanders and the Arizona Cardinals. First off, I got to give props to Jayden Daniels. Jayden Daniels, he is the best rookie quarterback out of this rookie class because the last two games, he has thrown for over 500 yards. 233 against the Cardinals and 325 yards versus the Cincinnati Bengals. And plus, as far as the Washington Commanders run game, they had 4 touchdowns on the ground. 4 touchdowns on the ground, and Jayden Daniels had 1 touchdown through the air. Now, the Arizona Cardinals are one of those teams that are at the bottom of the barrel, just like the Carolina Panthers. As far as the Washington Commanders, currently they are the first team in the NFC East. They hold the division lead by a game and a half as of right now. The Washington Commanders, they could be a playoff team. Now, credit, this is early season success. Let's see what they can do after Thanksgiving and into Christmas. Let's see what they can do. But congratulations to the Washington Commanders on getting your 3rd win of the season in dominant fashion. And also, Jayden Daniels, he is the best quarterback in this draft class currently, right now. The next game I want to talk about is the New England Patriots and San Francisco 49ers. I'm just going to do a rough estimate in this game because this game was basically a blowout. I watched all of the game, but after the 49ers scored 30 points, I basically turned to a different game because I knew that the 49ers had this game firmly in hand. And I'm going to give you a couple of team stats. Both quarterbacks, Jacoby Brissett, 19 of 32, 168 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Brock Purdy, 15 of 27, 288 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. When it comes to the San Francisco running game, they cracked over 140 yards, to be exact, 148. New England Patriots only had 73 yards rushing. This was almost like David and Goliath. You got the Patriots as far as David, and then you have the 49ers as Goliath. Goliath just overpowered the Patriots in this case. In this case, the 49ers just overpowered the Patriots. But when it comes to the Patriots, the only good thing they did in the first half was making a 63-yard field goal. As far as the 49ers, them being 2-2 after the first quarter of the season, they've had some early season struggles. Let's see what they can do later on in the season come week 13, week 14. But this is one of the wins that you are supposed to win. You are supposed to win this game, so I'm not going to give you a congratulations, 49er fans, because you were supposed to win this game in the fashion that you did. Now, the next game I want to talk about is the Cleveland Browns and Las Vegas Raiders. Deshaun Watson, 24 of 32, 176 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Gardner Minshew, 14 of 24, 130 yards, 0 touchdowns, and 0 interception. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people are saying, where did all these points come from? I'm going to tell you where they came from. DJ Turner, Las Vegas Raiders running back. He scored a touchdown. Trey Tucker, another Las Vegas running back. Well, excuse me, not running back, but wide receiver that lined up as a running back, scored a touchdown. Then you have the Raiders kicker who made 2 field goals. So that's where the Raiders' 20 points came from. And the Cleveland Browns, I don't know what to say about the Cleveland Browns. Does the Cleveland Browns have buyer's remorse as far as Deshaun Watson's contract? Like I said, Deshaun Watson's contract is fully guaranteed. He doesn't even have to play the entirety of the season. He can get injured. God forbid he can get injured the next game or in week 6 and still be cashing a check every Monday, coming in every Monday, getting his money. So as far as the Browns, they not going to make the playoffs. Not unless if they go on a winning streak of about 6-7 games. I don't even see that happening. As far as the Raiders, Antonio Pierce, they are playing a conservative style of ball. The defense, minus Max Crosby, they had a good game. The Raiders, they are another team that will be a tough outing for anybody. So congratulations on the Las Vegas Raiders for getting their second win of the season. The Cleveland Browns, you have a lot of things that you need to take care of. The next game I want to talk about is the Kansas City Chiefs and the LA Chargers. The Kansas City Chiefs are between a rock and a hard place right now. They are dealing with a lot of injuries right now, but yet they keep on winning games. And as far as the Chargers, they had this as a defensive game. Excuse me. They had this as a defensive game throughout. And, excuse me, in the fourth quarter, the Kansas City Chiefs defense just straight took over. Justin Herbert wasn't able to do anything in the fourth quarter, and mainly he wasn't able to do anything after the first quarter. You see it. 16 of 27, 179 yards, 1 touchdown, and 0 interceptions. You see Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes has said the last couple of weeks he hasn't played up to the bar or the standard that he has sought out for himself. Again, 19 of 29, 245 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and this is the 11th straight game that he has not cracked 250 passing yards, at least. Then you have their rushing attack, Kareem Hunt, Samaje Perine, Patrick Mahomes had a couple of package run plays, and you had Harrison Steele. They cracked over 100 yards as their rushing attack did. Then you have the Chargers rushing attack that was only able to generate 55 yards. So, Chargers have early season struggles. After the first 2 games, everybody was like, what are the Chargers going to do? Now we see what the Chargers can do. We see what their weaknesses are. What is Jim Harbaugh going to do? And what is the Chargers offense going to do? Because the defense, they did what they were supposed to do. They kept the Chiefs under 20 points. And when you don't have a chance to win that, and when you fail to win that game, it's really on the Chargers offense. And also, the Chiefs, they have some lingering injuries. Will this derail their chances for a three-peat? Who knows? There's still a lot of season to go. As of right now, the Chiefs have the best record in the AFC. So who knows what the Chiefs will be able to do. So all in all, congratulations on the Chiefs getting their 4th win of the season. And also, Chargers, you have a lot of stuff to work on. Now, the last 3 games I want to get into. 2 Monday night games and the Sunday night game. First, I'm going to start off with Sunday night and then lead into my last segment, which is the Monday night football games. Sunday night football, Buffalo Bills, Buffalo Bills, Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to tell you that this was just the Baltimore Ravens, they eviscerated the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen, 16 of 29, 180 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Mitchell Trubisky came in for 2 plays, 1 or 2, 2 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Lamar Jackson, 13 of 18. He didn't throw the ball much. 13 of 18, 156 yards, two touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Josh Johnson, he came in for 1 play, completed his pass for 1 yard. But the Baltimore rushing game, that is what won this game for the Ravens. Derrick Henry, 199 yards on the ground. Lamar Jackson, 54 yards on the ground. Justice Hill, 18 yards on the ground for a grand total of 270 yards. Now, what the Bills did to the Jaguars last week, it really doesn't matter because we all know what the Jaguars are as a team, like I said earlier in the show. Now, as far as the Buffalo Bills, they are in first place in their division. I wouldn't be surprised if they made it. I wouldn't be surprised if they win a division because the New York Jets have a lot of question marks. Also, the Miami Dolphins have a lot of question marks. The Patriots, we already know they are in the same boat with the Arizona Cardinals and the Carolina Panthers. Bottom of the barrel teams, you should just forget about them and they should just go ahead and get ready and get prepared for the 2025 NFL draft. The Buffalo Bills, what they can do, they can take a lot away from this loss. They can get better on defense. They can make it when they get in games like this, they can make it a much respectable game. But the Ravens, they were just a runaway train. The first play of the game, Derrick Henry, 87-yard touchdown, and you knew from that the game was pretty much over. It was going to be in the Ravens' favor. So, congratulations on the Ravens winning this game. Buffalo Bills, you have a lot of question marks and concerns to think about. So that's all I have for the Sunday night football game. Now, the 2 Monday night football games. One was pretty much a boring game in as far as the Tennessee Titans and Miami Dolphins, and another one, Seattle Seahawks and Detroit Lions, was basically an offensive shootout. So I'm gonna get into the Titans first. The Miami Dolphins started Brett Hundley, and the Tennessee Titans started Zach Mettenberger. Now, Zach Mettenberger, this was his first NFL action because he has been a career backup. He didn't show much on tape that I could take away from. Not Zach Mettenberger, Mason Rudolph. Now, Mason Rudolph has been a career backup. 9 of 17, 85 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Will Levis, 3 of 4, 25 yards, 1 interception, and then the head coach took him out of the game. Will Levis, he has turned the ball over 7 times throughout the early part of the season. Now, the coach, he did the right thing, taking Will Levis out, because leaving Will Levis in there, you don't know what type of offense you have. And then the running game for the Tennessee Titans basically won them the game. 142 yards of rushing. Wide receivers had 110 yards through the air. Fumbles, Tennessee had one fumble but recovered it. Miami had one fumble, didn't recover it, and that is what lost them the game. Now, Tyler Huntley, there was 4 throws in this game. 3 of them was to Tyreek Hill that basically determined the outcome of this game. Because when you see what the Miami Dolphins are going through, you don't know when Tua is coming back, and who knows, do they need to call up another backup? Maybe the Miami Dolphins need to call another backup. But the defense kept them in this game for a while. But I knew if the Titans scored 1 touchdown, that was basically the game. They did that in the 3rd quarter, and that was basically the game. So Tyler Huntley, 14 of 22, 96 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. The running game for the Miami Dolphins, 106 yards. Tyler Huntley, 40 yards rushing. Jalen Wright, 32 yards rushing. Tyreek Hill, 19 yards rushing. Devontae Chant, 15 yards rushing. Now, this is the worst that the Miami Dolphins has looked in under Mike McDaniel's head coaching tenure. So, what the Miami Dolphins need to do is go and get them a better backup quarterback, because this is not going to cut it. So, congratulations to the Tennessee Titans on winning this game. Miami Dolphins, you have a lot of things to work on, and you have a lot of questions and concerns when it comes to the quarterback position. Now, the last game of the week, Seattle Seahawks, Detroit Lions. The last 3-4 games, the last 6 games with the Detroit Lions and Seattle Seahawks have all came down to the wire, and they have been offensive shootouts. And this was an offensive shootout last night. Geno Smith had a good game, almost cracked 400 yards. He was 38 of 56, 395 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Jared Goff had a perfect passer rating. I got to give credit where credit is due. To have a perfect passer rating, he was 18 of 18, 292 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He had an efficient night. He had a perfect quarterback rating. A perfect quarterback rating for most people that don't keep up with quarterback ratings. If you are not a true statistician, a perfect quarterback rating is 58.3. And that is what Jared Goff had last night. The rushing game for the Detroit Lions was 116 yards. As far as wide receivers, Jameson Williams, Sam Laporta, Tim Patrick, Amon-Ra St. Brown, David Montgomery, a.k.a. Demo, Brock Wright, Khalif Raymond, and Jared Goff. Everybody. The Detroit Lions was a well-oiled machine last night. They scored 7 touchdowns last night. The Seattle Seahawks didn't have no answer on defense. What do I take away from this game? I wouldn't be surprised if this is a playoff matchup. I wouldn't be surprised, because what I saw from both of these teams when it comes to the offense is what the average NFL fan, if you are an offensive person, would like. So, the Detroit Lions, congratulations on the Detroit Lions winning this game. Seattle Seahawks still 3-1, still at the top of their division, and they can make some playoff noise too. And with that, those are my reactions to week 4 of the NFL season. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, click the notification bell to get notified of all of my reaction videos, shows, and other content. And also follow Key City Sports on TikTok. And remember, one last thing, the key is always on time.